Welcome to the Brass and Woodwind shop. One of the common problems on clarinets is that the keys get loose, and I have a clarinet in my shop that has 2 loose keys on it, and I'm going to tighten those up. This video will be about tightening keys that use hinge rods. There's another method for tightening keys that use pivot screws, but that will be in another video. Look in the description below for links to that video. The 2 most common keys on a clarinet to be loose are the low EB lever and the low F sharp C sharp lever. Any key that is long and has a small hinge rod is likely to be loose, and on the upper joint, the side keys can tend to be loose because they're long keys with small hinge rods. But the 2 longest keys usually have a key guide, and that keeps those keys from moving around too much even if they are a little bit loose. On this video, I'm going to tighten up these 2 levers, but the method is the same no matter which key it is. If you're wondering why I'm calling these levers, it's because they do not have a pad on them. Keys have a pad attached to it, and levers do not. The tool that is usually used to tighten keys is called a Swedging Pliers. This is a large pliers and it is fairly expensive, but it works very well on tightening the keys with the hinge rods on them. This pliers has 4 different holes, and there are different sizes from largest to smallest. Start by taking the levers off of the instrument, cleaning the oil off the hinge rod. Then put the hinge rod into the key, and you always want to make sure that the hinge rod is inside of the key when you do this, or else you'll do damage to it. Take the swedging pliers and find the hole that's the right size, and usually for clarinet it's the smallest hole. Saxophones use the largest one usually, but you use the one that works on the key that you're working with. You want to make sure that the hinge rod goes beyond the end of the key that you're swedging. If it goes in too far, when you squeeze it, it's going to crimp this shut and it'll make your job a lot harder. So if I'm doing this part of the key, I'm going to make sure that this sticks out farther than the end of the key. And also compensate for the threaded part, because the threaded part is smaller, and if you put it in just up to the threaded part, it will also crimp it too far and you'll cause more work for yourself. So put it in like that, and then take the pliers, and then you squeeze the pliers. You can use quite a bit of pressure when you're doing this, and it won't go too far because you have the hinge rod in there. You can put quite a bit of pressure on the swedging pliers, and then take the key and rotate it a little bit, and then check your work. See if it's loose. It's still a little bit loose. So I'm going to do that again. And I'm putting a lot of pressure into that. And now I'm going to turn the key around, and again make sure that this hinge rod sticks out farther than the key. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Now we'll check that out. That is a lot tighter now. It works this way and it turns. You do not want it to be so tight that it will not turn, but it does not move back and forth this way much, if at all. You may have noticed when I was swedging the key, I swedged it this way and not this way, and there is a reason for that. This pliers closes the key this way and not this way. When you have the key on the instrument and it moves back and forth, it's going to go this way. It is not going to go like that. You want to close the hinge rod tube this way because that will keep the key from going back and forth. Now it's time to do the other lever, and this lever has the hinge rod tube on only one side, and there's not enough to get a hold of with the swedging pliers on this side, so I'm just going to do one side on this lever. Take the hinge rod and clean it off, and put the hinge rod inside of the lever, and put it in the swedging pliers. And make sure that the hinge rod is in the right place, and then squeeze it, turn it a little, and squeeze it some more. And then check it to see how it is. And it needs to be swedged a little bit more. Okay, that should be good. And about the swedging pliers, there is one flat side on it, then there's another side that is tapered, Many swedging pliers, though, have two tapered sides on them. There's something else to be very careful about when you're doing this job. Make sure that the swedging pliers in the lever only touch where the hinge rod tube is. None of the other part of the key should touch the swedging pliers in any place. Because if you do, what's going to happen is this hinge rod will go in at an angle. When you squeeze it, it will bend the hinge rod tube. Then you'll also have a bent hinge rod and hinge rod tube to take care of. So when you're doing this, make sure they do not touch anywhere except for the hinge rod tube. When you're done, oil the keys and put it back together. And usually on most brands of clarinets, you need to put these two levers on together. They cannot usually be put on one at a time. These keys are a lot tighter than they were. There is still a little tiny bit of back and forth wiggle, but on a key this long, there will always be some wiggle back and forth. I hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe for more band instrument repair videos, and also look in the description below to link for where you can get this tool.